It's been an awful start to Zen summer so far. Been really rot maxing lately. Had a migraine the last 2 days. I'm feeling okay today, but I don't know. We're still on rot watch. It's a rot advisory for my area. I'm trying out the fancy camera again. Switched up my background. Not that you can even see it. Background is all blurred. We're looking like a Netflix original now. My mom texted me. She said that she saw the new Spielberg movie. And she said it's the worst. It was terrible. It was the worst movie of all time. Like, she was so pissed. It was that bad. And actually, I saw this thing on Reddit like a month or so ago. Spielberg did an interview, and he said that Hollywood has to stop with the remakes, and they have to come up with more original ideas. Otherwise, everyone's gonna get burnt out on all the remakes. And someone in the comments, one, said, "Hey, stop making everything look like crap. Stop with the bad lighting. Stop making everything look like a Netflix original, even though it's supposed to be a big Spielberg production." And someone else said, which really stood out to me, they said, well, there's a difference between saving Hollywood and saving cinema. Who cares about what happens with Hollywood? We need to save cinema. Yeah, you can't see anything in my background. Do not. This was hard enough to figure out how to set this up so I didn't look like I was half dead. Like, I poked it with a stick. At least I still have my personality. I do have it washed out a little bit. I like a little bit of a washed out look. Switched up my CDs and my things. You can't even see them. Listen to this bad boy while I got ready. And it occurred to me, so in the last video, I said I did not like the photo album by Death Cab for Cutie because it's like emo folk music. And then it occurred to me while listening to this that this is like emo folk music. I mean, it's not. No, Alanis is emo. Don't be pedantic. My channel is not for the pedantic. What else? I want to. Been doing a lot of research on branding, like coming up with my own brand. My brand. So I'm trying to figure out, like, I want a font that I use all the time, and I want to have little, like, I don't know, assets that I use all the time. I was inspired by, I also got a copy of Shame by Annie Ernaux. It's a used copy that I didn't know was going to be a used copy. I think I spent too much on this. Such a slim book. I don't think I knew that it was used. And I was really mad until I saw the coffee stain on it, and I was like, that's a great coffee stain. So I might even try and scan in the coffee stain. But I'm kind of inspired by this cream and blue. You know what I mean? It's a little bit summery, it's a little bit Hamptonsy. You know, summer Hampton sadness, realness, yellow notepads, like Post-its, and masking tape, my deckled edge. I'm not on the cutting edge, I'm on the deckled edge. Maybe scan some stuff in like I did with my title sequence. I'm really proud of that title sequence. I really hope that it's not making people turn off because I have to sit through it, but I always loved it. I love Kevin for making my theme song. So maybe I'll take you guys with me while I scan some stuff in and show you what I come up with for my branding. I don't want to. Real G's move in silence like lasagna, but and I really shouldn't be telling you my every little move in case it doesn't happen. But I'm planning like the collector series, one for blue. also have this. This is turning into a book haul. This Japanese color library. And they give you color combinations. So I was trying to find one that had blue. I was thinking maybe this one. But I don't know. I want like a true blue and a true cream. But I figured this would help me because I'm so black and white is still really my jam. I looked in the background of my last video and I was like, I don't know about this. I miss all my black and white stuff. Pale King blue and violet blue. Corinthian pink. I'd say that's pretty accurate to Corinthian pink. Crazy. Don't say anything about my grody desk. Pieces of notepaper. This is my scanner, my flatbed scanner, that I took the top completely off so that if I ever wanted to scan in something like really big or like a book or something, it doesn't get in the way. So this is what we do. I thought I would have one that wasn't crinkled, a crinkled one, and maybe one that wasn't crinkled, but this one got a little bit banged up anyway in the ruckus. So let's scan this. This is where you line it up. Not over here. What are you doing? Now. Does this fit? No. My nails are so grody. 4K grody with a nice camera. What are Post-its? I invented Post-its. You're kidding. Even if I don't use it for now, it'll be cool for when I talk about the book. All right, let's see what we can do with this now. Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you when I'm done. It's still the collector deep dive. I started J.C. Lee Dugard's book last night. It is not an easy read. Not at all. Not that I was expecting it to be, but it was definitely hard, especially while having a migraine. It's not something I would expect everybody to want to hear about if you're not in the right headspace. What else do I want to do? I picked up The Catcher in the Rye because Miranda reads it in The Collector. Got this at Savers yesterday. I went into Savers and I was like, man, I'm really thirsty. Maybe I should stop at Dollar Tree and get myself a drink before I go in. And I was like, nah, I'll be all right. Was absolutely having a dry cough fit with all the dust and stuff in Savers. I was like, I gotta find something. I knew that they would have a copy of The Catcher in the Rye. They always do. But nothing else. I was looking for, she reads Emma and she reads Sense and Sensibility in it. I was looking for those. I started Room at the Top on my Kindle, but now that I got, as soon as I was done with my last video, the J.C. Lee Dugard book became available, and I was like, this is more important. Room at the Top. So far, my impression is that spending too much time describing stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, just tell me the guy was wearing a shabby suit. He looked shabby, and his suit was shabby. You know? Let my brain fill in the gaps. Don't be like describing every little thing about it. It makes me bored. Like when we did, I remember Great Gatsby being so boring in school, and there was a lot of describing shit in it. Here's what I listened to while I got ready today. In my last video, I briefly mentioned Chris Cornell, briefly mentioned Audioslave, and I wanted to listen to Super Unknown, but my CD is so scratched. It was skipping like crazy. So I picked this. And I think maybe it was the right choice. One time Kevin said that this album reminds him of me. I was like, that's like the ultimate compliment. This album's badass. Me? This reminds you of me? Badass. Reminds me of my mom though, too, so maybe there's something. Because I remember my mom listening to this all the time. It's great. Banger after banger. The other Audioslave albums don't do it for me like this one does. Okay, so I finally watched the movie based on The Collector. You guys, it was so good. It was so good. So I watched it twice. Now, usually when I watch a movie twice, it's because it had been too long since the last time I watched it. So I like to give myself a refresher before I talk about it on camera. If you watched my last video, you would know that this is a satire channel, but you would also know that I watch movies by means. And when I found this movie by means, the only one that I was able to find had some random man's audio commentary on it. And I turned it on, and at first I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to find something else. And then I was like, wait a minute. I'm gonna let him cook. See what kind of insight he has for me. And he had a lot of good insight. So I took some notes from his commentary. I took some notes from when I watched it without the commentary. Turns out that it's on YouTube for free, so it was very easy to find. And then I have notes from Wikipedia and my other research. The first thing that my audio commentary angel said was of note was that during the title card, William Wyler is the only person whose name is up on the screen, which is another thing, getting right into the film. There's no long opening credits. William Wyler, he's known for films like Wuthering Heights, not that one, The Best Years of Our Lives, Roman Holiday, Ben-Hur, and Funny Girl, amongst a bunch of other stuff. He was just coming off of The Children's Hour, which deserves its own deep dive. I will not get into it in this video, but it was controversial. He's coming off of this controversial film, and he turned down directing The Sound of Music to direct The Collector. So Terrence Stamp plays Freddie Clegg, and Samantha Eggar plays Miranda. And they were chosen because they had the right chemistry. But Eggar was almost replaced. Wyler wanted to create a sense of isolation for her on set. He instructed Terrence Stamp to ignore her, give her the cold shoulder on set. She was not permitted to leave the set, and she couldn't eat with anybody else in the cast. And author John Fowles noted on set that the favorite sport on the Columbia set is making fun of her behind her back. And Eggar lost 10 pounds during rehearsals. She was fired, and Wyler decided to pursue Natalie Wood. But ultimately, they chose to bring Eggar back under the conditions that she would have an acting coach. And the acting coach was the only person she was allowed to talk to on set. Eggar said, "I guess I was supposed to feel trapped, and I did." And she said that Wyler was 100% demanding. He works to your peak. When it's over, you realize that you have done the best that you could possibly do. Now, Terrence Stamp's last role was in 1962 Billy Budd. And due to a lack of movie offers, he felt like he had to take the role of Freddie Clegg. So when I talk about the book, my biggest criticism is Miranda's relationship with the GP character. GP is an art teacher, and he's old enough to be Miranda's father. She is not attracted to him. So there's a quote straight from the book. I'll have to scan it in to give you the exact thing, but it's something to the effect of, "He was only an inch or two taller than me. He had a broad face and pitted skin. She wasn't attracted to him at all." When I picture him, what I picture is John Cassavetes' character in Love Streams. And I almost turned off Love Streams as soon as it started because John Cassavetes' character was driving me crazy. I couldn't stand him. He's like my worst nightmare. I always think that John Cassavetes could have benefited from some editing down. I think his movies always start off as like the best movie I've ever seen, and then they go on for too long and they lose me. They're like 3.5 hours and they go on for, but Miranda admires him. She finds that, she gets to have intellectual conversations with him. They talk about art. She listens to his records. He's not like the boys her age who are just boys to her. Now, eventually in the book, GP asks Miranda to go to bed with him, and she turns him down. But she still wants to come around. She still wants to hang out with him and visit him at his house. And eventually he has to let her go. He can't be around her if she's not going to want to be with him. Now, towards the end of the book, she comes to the conclusion that if she ever gets out, she's going to change her mind. She's going to want to be with GP. And guess what? All of the GP scenes were removed from the film, completely cut out. My mystery audio commentary man, he called them flashback scenes. All of Miranda's GP flashback scenes were removed from the film. And that's when it hit me. That's what it is. They're flashbacks. And that's why I hate them so much. I talk about how dream sequences and drug trip sequences in films and media, I hate them. I think they disrupt the flow of things. It occurred to me, flashbacks also disrupt the flow. We get one scene with GP, and his back is to the camera, with Miranda sitting across from him at a table. And this is meant to be the breakup scene. And that's when Freddie starts following her and kidnaps her. Kenneth Moore was to play GP, and the original cut of the film was 3 hours long. And when it had the first screening, Wyler was forced to remove all the GP scenes, including 35 minutes of prologue. But Wyler said, some of the finest footage I have shot wound up on the cutting floor, including Kenneth's part. And Edgar would say that it's love keeping her alive. It's her love for GP that is keeping her alive. And that removing that from the film now is presenting her as a woman with great resilience. And that's what makes me like the Miranda in the movie better than the Miranda in the book. One, because we don't have to hear about GP, but also we don't hear so much of Miranda's thoughts. I think Miranda in the movie is way more of a sympathetic character. Miranda in the book seems way more judgmental. I don't think that Miranda in the movie would judge Freddie for his education or his social standing. But the Miranda in the book seems like she would. She makes fun of him for being uncultured. She makes fun of him for his grammar. With all of the knowledge of Samantha Eggar and how she was treated on set, the performance is amazing. And I can't help but think that the isolation on set did actually come through in that performance. And it's a very physically demanding performance. There's a lot of... She goes through a lot in this movie. So both Terrence Stamp and Samantha Eggar won at Cannes, and she won the Golden Globe. Now, one of John Fowles' biggest criticisms of the movie was the score. He said that it was way too whimsical, and it is. It is very, very whimsical for what it is. And I think maybe Wyler wanted a little bit of comedic relief. I think that maybe that's what he was going for. And he said that he wasn't trying to make a perfect copy of the book, that it was supposed to be kind of like a love story. And that's what all the posters say, kind of like it's something like kind of like a love story, or almost like a love story. How demented. But maybe that's why I liked the movie more, because I felt like it was even more absurd. John Fowles did insist on writing the screenplay for the next adaptation of his work.
Magus.
The Magus was an absolute critical disaster, and he blames Guy Green, the director, for how it ended up. It has since become a cult classic. So maybe I will do the book and the movie back to back soon. I did read someone on Reddit said that they believe that The Collector was the first draft. Magus, is that how... I feel like that sounds like it's wrong. No CD to share with you, but I did listen to an album while I got ready today. Ever since the movie Obsession came out, I've had the song Obsession by the band Thornhill stuck in my head. So I decided that I would revisit the album that it's from. It's called Bodies, the album. I remember when it was coming out, the singles were so good. They came out with like 4 singles before the album came out, which I think is too many. That's like the new thing. Every band is coming out with too many singles before they release the album. But I was like, these songs are the shit. This album's gonna be so good. And I listened to the album once. It was a first time, last time. I never went back to it. I was like, this album is a mess. It turns out I don't think the band liked the album either because they came out with 2 more versions of the album. There's Bodies, the original version. There's Bodies X, which is a remix album. And now there's Bodies Definitive, which I guess is the final version. I don't know. So I put on the definitive version while I got ready, and it's so good. In my head, Thornhill is supposed to be the next big thing. Like how Bad Omens and Sleep Token blew up on TikTok. Thornhill is supposed to be the next one. I haven't been on TikTok in a really long time, so it could have happened, but to my knowledge, they haven't. They're supposed to be the next one. Absolutely. Thirst trap coded. They're for the baddies. Remember a time when I was going to the gym every day, doing my hot girl walks, and I was listening to Thornhill. I was doing the whole 12-3-30 thing. 12 incline, 3 speed, 30-minute walks to Thornhill. Hot girl walking, and the nail shop just absolutely popping off at that time. I had so many nail orders. I haven't talked about the shop in a long time, so here's a set that I'm working on. Well, I finished this set yesterday for an order I'm working on. This is Sunkissed. Is it focusing? Focusing. So, speaking of obsession, I saw Obsession last night. And I thought it would be fitting to talk about it in this video. It goes with the collector Lopsy Day vibe. It's a solid movie. It's solid. If you watched my last video, you would know that I saw Backrooms before filming the last video. And I had a hard time deciding if I wanted to see Backrooms or Obsession. And now both movies, they're completely different and they stand alone because they came out essentially at the same time, and the whole the whole back sessions thing. I can't help but to talk about them at the same time and compare them, even though they're totally different and they don't need to be compared. Now, I think Obsession is a good movie with amazing acting. Backrooms is an amazing movie with okay acting. But I don't really know how you would act in a movie like that anyway, so. And I actually think Obsession is way scarier. Obsession is way scarier to me. I texted my mom said that Backrooms was scarier. But I don't know, I feel like Backrooms was so unrealistic. You're gonna no clip through the wall. To me, Obsession was more realistic. I know that there's like a supernatural element to it, witchy kind of a thing. Everything else felt kind of realistic to me. There were more jump scares and more gore, which also makes me not like it as much. I don't like jump scares. I hate jump scares. So Kevin and I, we both loved Backrooms. Kevin, as Kevin said, as soon as the movie ended, he said 10 out of 10, off the wall, batshit crazy. And Kevin said that he would give it 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Kevin never does that. Obsession, he said he would give 1 out of 5 on Letterboxd if he had one. I gave it 3 out of 5. Kevin said it was a movie for high schoolers to bring their girlfriends to. I think the movie was too good to just reduce it to that. I think the acting was too good to reduce it to being a movie just for high schoolers. I do. I think the acting was phenomenal. Now, were there a lot of high schoolers in the theater seeing the movie? Yes. Were there a lot of high schoolers laughing and saying things like, bruh, during the movie? Yes. A lot of that. If I watched this movie by myself, I would not be laughing at anything. But these high schoolers laughing at it made me laugh. It did lighten the mood a little bit, because really I thought the movie was so nerve-wracking. I thought the movie was so nerve-wracking. My favorite review of Obsession on Letterboxd, it said something like, "Yep, this is a movie made by a 20-something-year-old director." One thing Kevin and I were trying to figure out was how old they were supposed to be in this movie. Also, I swore the kid who played Ian was the kid from 2.5 Men. It's not him. He looks just like him. I was like, that's definitely him. One of the things that I kept seeing online was a comparison to Hereditary. People were like, this is there was too much influence taken from Hereditary, and I didn't see that. I saw Hereditary just when it came out. Saw it in the movie theater, and that's the only time I ever saw it. Maybe my memory of it isn't as good to compare it and see how close it really is to Obsession, but when we were in San Diego, there were these guys in the seats behind us, and they were talking about seeing Obsession, and he said it was better than Hereditary. At the time, I didn't think anything of it, but now that I see people are comparing them, I think it's interesting in hindsight to hear that he was talking about both of them. And really, Hereditary, I remember starting out as like the best movie I've ever seen, and then ending up being a stereotypical naked old people scary movie. And that like ruined it for me. I didn't like how it came together at the end. So, J.C. Lee Dugard's book. I am just past 100 pages. And that is enough for me to see that John Fowles did a great job depicting a relationship between a captor and a kidnapped victim, which was the point of reading it in the first place. And I've decided I've read enough. I got what was intended. I'm making the executive decision to DNF it because it's really hard. It's really hard to read. And I've been talking about scary movies, but it's just way too real, and I'm like crying while I read it. Yeah, I don't want to pick it up, so I'm gonna DNF it, and I'm not gonna talk about it any further on camera. I've made the decision that for this series, I'm going to allow myself to DNF anything that I want to, because there's just so many books to get through, that I don't want to read anything that I don't want to finish. So I think for next video, I'm moving on to The Catcher in the Rye, and I need to finish this drawing so bad. Okay, I think this is where I am leaving you guys. If you made it to the end of this video, it really means a lot to me. I hope you would consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. My adenoids are really driving me crazy. I'll see you next time. Bye.